Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the final edition of NoDQ&A video for 2016. We have 2017 coming right up. We have the Royal Rumble, we have the NXT San Antonio event. January is going to be a big month, but for now, got your questions regarding 2016 and some questions regarding 2017 from twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag PAIV. Let's get started today with the first one, which comes from Robert Hansen. So Stephanie finally mentioned CM Punk on live TV. What were your thoughts? I have to give WWE credit. That was a very good line to use in response to the fans chanting CM Punk. Now, even though it was prepared and Stephanie was given that line and she was well aware that the fans were probably going to chant CM Punk at her, I still thought it worked well. I mean, it did not work perfectly because the fans were still chanting CM Punk when Roman Reigns came out, but it did get the fans to shut up when Stephanie was talking. And it was a good line. Her delivery was good. And I tweeted out a picture of those freestylers and the guy making the weird face, and it got something like 300 retweets on Twitter. I thought that was really awesome. So yeah, I enjoyed this segment. It was entertaining for sure. Got this one here from Killing Joke Gaiman. Is Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker a good idea for WrestleMania? Personally, I want to see Seth or Ambrose face The Undertaker. The only reason I would go with Roman Reigns versus Undertaker would be if Reigns is going to turn heel and be the guy to end The Undertaker's career as a heel. I think that would be tremendous. I think that would really help establish Roman Reigns as the top heel in the company. He's not a good guy, he's not the guy, he's just the bad guy. And I think that would work. But if there's no plans to turn Roman Reigns heel, then I would absolutely not do that match. I mean, to me, the crowd would totally crap on Roman Reigns, and if Roman beat The Undertaker, I think fans would be very unhappy. I think that WrestleMania would probably go down as the most hated WrestleMania of all time. I mean, if Cena did it, I think there would be some fans that are upset, but not quite as many. I just see Roman Reigns beating The Undertaker as a babyface as a terrible idea. Now, that's just a rumor at this point. I mean, it's still expected to be Cena and Undertaker, and then Roman Reigns facing Braun Strowman, which I think is better. I think Reigns versus The Undertaker is not a good idea unless they're going to go all the way with Reigns as a heel, and I just don't see that happening. Got this one here from Benny. Hey Aaron, what do you think should be done with the US title with Reigns, not even defending it? Who should be the champion now? I could see Braun Strowman perhaps beating Roman Reigns sometime in the near future, and then Reigns goes for his rematch at WrestleMania. You have Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman for the US title at WrestleMania. I like that idea better than having Reigns win the Universal title and doing Strowman versus Reigns at WrestleMania for the Universal title. I'd rather see Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho for the Universal title and then do Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman for the US title. That's just my opinion though. That's what I think would be the better way to go. I think if you do the Universal title, fans will probably crap on the match. Why not just have Strowman beat Reigns for the US title and give Strowman that run? I mean, it is more or less like a recreation of Cena versus Rusev, but I mean that's how I see this already with Reigns versus Strowman. I see it as Cena versus Rusev Part 2, so you might as well just do the title change while you're at it and set that match up, have the two of them go back and forth, and they have a big showdown at WrestleMania for the US title. That's what I would do at least. Got this one here from Insane Panda. Do you think Braun Strowman will be in the Final Four in the Royal Rumble? I like the idea of him being one of the last four in there, but the problem with that is then at most you would have three guys that could eliminate him. I think a better idea might be to have him go out there, dominate, eliminate a lot of people, and then have like 10 people gang up on him and dump him over the top. You know, going back to like the 1990 Royal Rumble with Andre the Giant, they had all the guys, pretty much the entire ring, work together to get Andre out of there. That's what I would do with Braun Strowman. I think that would be more effective than having him be there in the final four, because then at most you can only have 3 guys eliminate him. I suppose you could do that, but I think it would make for a more memorable moment if you had something like 10 guys work together to get Stroman out of there. Next one comes from Mike. How about Jericho costing Owens the title versus Reigns, setting up Owens and Jericho and Reigns Balor for the title at WrestleMania? Again, what I would like to see is Owens and Jericho for the Universal title. Reigns versus Balor for the Universal title. I mean, I think it's an interesting idea, but we already saw Balor beat Reigns, and my fear would be that Reigns would just get his win back. I'd rather see Reigns versus Stroman. You know, WWE's going to want Reigns to look strong at WrestleMania, so why not just do Reigns versus Stroman for the US title, so it's not for the world title, and fans aren't that upset about Reigns winning the US title at WrestleMania. You know, if it was the Universal title, you'd have fans a lot more upset. And, you know, possibly do Finn Balor versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania, with Balor being promised a title rematch after WrestleMania, and that's how you avoid that situation where Balor doesn't go for the title. Something like that, and you have the big Raw versus SmackDown match, AJ versus Balor. I mean, that's at least how I would plan it out. But, you know, Reigns winning the title and then facing Balor, yeah, that is something WWE could do. That is an option, but if Reigns is winning, I'm not sure how well that will go over with the fans. I think, you know, of all the scenarios where Reigns wins at WrestleMania, I think Reigns versus Stroman would be the least likely to have fan backlash. That's just my opinion. Got this one here from Austin Allen. Everyone is saying it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. Well, what about if Goldberg wins the Rumble and wins the title at Mania? This I do not see happening. I do not see Goldberg winning the Royal Rumble. My guess is Brock will eliminate him to justify Brock getting his rematch at Goldberg, since Goldberg is already 2-0 against Lesnar. So Lesnar needs to get one over on Goldberg. I'm not expecting Goldberg to win. I would be very surprised. Very surprised. And I don't see Goldberg winning the title at WrestleMania. I think what's going to happen is Goldberg will lose at the Royal Rumble and then probably lose to Lesnar at WrestleMania, and that's the end of Goldberg's run. You know, he'll go into the Hall of Fame. My gut feeling is Goldberg will be the headliner this year, and that will be it for him. This will be his final run, and he'll ride off into the sunset, and that'll be the end of it. That's what I'm expecting, at least. This one comes from Andy Cruz. Do you think WrestleMania will ever return to Madison Square Garden? Probably not. The only way I could see it happening is if WWE did like a repeat of WrestleMania 2 where they hosted WrestleMania. You know, it might be cool to do like 2 different cities for WrestleMania. One city being the Raw brand, one city being the SmackDown brand. You know, maybe have Raw at MSG and then have SmackDown Live in Los Angeles. I think that would be a really cool idea for WrestleMania. The problem with doing WrestleMania in Madison Square Garden is WWE makes so much money running in the big stadiums now. So, you know, unless they charge a ridiculous amount of money for tickets, you know, they're going to lose a lot of money by running WrestleMania in a smaller building. And MSG is already very expensive for WWE to run in, and that's why they don't do TV tapings at MSG anymore. You know, they just do the house shows because it's very expensive to do television at MSG. But yeah, for WrestleMania, I mean, that would be cool. Like, just do something more than Madison Square Garden so you can make up for the revenue loss, you know, doing it in 2 arenas, one in MSG and one in Los Angeles. You know, I think that could work very well. And, you know, with the better technology now, I mean, WrestleMania 2, it was a nice idea on paper, but the technology just wasn't ready to handle it, and you know, from a technical standpoint, that show was a disaster. But if they tried to do it now, I think it would be a lot better, and with the brand split, I think it would work really well. So, you know, I would, if I was WWE, I would consider doing something like that just to change things up. This one comes from Garrett Mills. Why is WWE all of a sudden saying Charlotte Flair? Why didn't they just do this from when she debuted? I think the idea at first is they did not want Charlotte to rely too much on her father to get over, and using the Flair name, I think there would be certain expectations if she went by the name of Charlotte Flair, and that's when she first came in. But now that she is firmly established and she's been doing really well, and she's had a great 2016, now I think it's okay for her to call herself Charlotte Flair. I mean, she's earned it. She's earned the right to use that name now, I think, and she doesn't need to use the name to get herself over. She's already over now, and I think that's why they are having her go by the name of Charlotte Flair now and embracing the legacy, because she's proved that she is the female equivalent of her father. She is becoming the top woman in WWE and quickly becoming one of the best women performers in WWE history. So she's definitely exceeding expectations, and I think that's why they're going back to calling her by that name, because now she doesn't have that pressure anymore to have to perform at the Flair level. She's already at that level. Got this one here from Keith Blandford. Your opinion on 2016. Good year in pro wrestling, bad year, or middle of the road? I think it had its moments, but about average. It was definitely better than 2015, although that's not saying much. What I will say about 2016 overall, it was a good year for in-ring wrestling in WWE. Almost every pay-per-view was solid. There were a few ones that were somewhat weak. The biggest weakness of WWE is the booking. I mean, the writing has not been that good, and Raw is still too long of a show. I wish they could somehow go back to 2 hours, but financially, it's not a good idea for them at this point. The 3-hour Raws are a drag. SmackDown Live has been great. I mean, SmackDown Live in 2016 has definitely been one of the high points of WWE, and many would say the Cruiserweight Classic was another highlight. WrestleMania, I thought, was a disappointment, just too damn long. Looking at some of the other major shows, I mean, SummerSlam was pretty good. The Rumble was better than the previous 2 years. Again, not saying much. So yeah, I mean, overall, I would say it was a good year for in-ring work. In terms of the writing, not so good. This one comes from Tyler Joseph Smith. When Austin Aries recovers, do you see him going back to NXT or joining the Cruiserweight division? I think it would be silly to have him go back to NXT now, and I think the fact that the fans are chanting Austin Aries during the 205 matches, and on Raw they're chanting Austin Aries, I mean, it's almost like Austin Aries is more over than the entire Cruiserweight division at this point. And, Vince is watching. He's there backstage on the monitors with the headset. He sees everything that's going on, and, I think it's almost a sure thing. Can't say 100%, but I would be shocked if Austin Aries doesn't just go right to the main roster once he's recovered from his injury. He's doing the commentary on Raw now. He's becoming a weekly part of the show already, so why send him back to NXT? There's no need. Austin Aries has been around for many years. He was TNA World Champion. He's not a rookie. He's established. There's no need for him to be in NXT. So yeah, I could definitely see him becoming one of the top stars, if not the top star in NXT. Maybe him and Neville can have a great feud for the Cruiserweight title. And when that happens, I think the Cruiserweight division will really start to gain some momentum. I mean, I think that would be an awesome feud for the Cruiserweights, definitely. Got this one here from DJ Whitty. Yo, Aaron, please answer in video. If the direction for Nia Jax is a feud with Sasha, wouldn't it hurt Sasha if she loses? Well, first of all, I think there's a good chance we'll have the 50-50 booking with them. Maybe Nia Jax will win the first match and Sasha will win the second one. So in the end, I think it will even out. I'm expecting Sasha to go heel. So, I mean, she even could lose the feud, and that could set her off and set up a heel turn where she's frustrated and she has a moment where she just snaps and then she turns heel, and then you can set up Sasha versus Bayley for the women's title. I mean, I would go with Bayley winning the women's title at WrestleMania, and then you have Nia Jax as a contender, and then you can have Sasha Banks as a contender. Do a slow build-up, maybe SummerSlam. You can do Bayley versus Sasha Banks as a heel for the women's title and have that be the featured match at SummerSlam. So that's something that they could do. Yeah, I think it's okay if Sasha loses this feud, just because you always have that option, and I think they should, to turn her heel at some point. Got this one here from Brenton. What are your thoughts on the Stone Cold Undertaker First Blood match from Fully Loaded in '99? It is one of my favorite matches and build-ups. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that was the storyline where they had Austin busted open and then Undertaker signed the contract in Austin's own blood. I thought that was really clever. I did think that was a very good storyline, and Vince was in the wheelchair and Austin busted Vince open. They had a good build-up for that. The only thing I did not like was the fact that they had the stipulation where if Vince lost, he would be gone, and he was gone for what, 2 months before coming back and being in charge again. So yeah, they really did not stick to the stipulation. Vince was quickly brought back to television, but other than that, the feud was really well done, especially that contract signing with the contract being signed in Austin's own blood. I thought that was really cool. That'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed all of the No DQ&A videos here in 2016, and coming up very close to episode number 900 of No DQ&A video, and we should be hitting 1,000 in the year 2017. So looking forward to that. Thank you all for checking out the videos and continuing to watch. Please keep spreading the word about No DQ&A video, and I will see you guys next year for more No DQ&A video.